All right, so I'm going to fix this legend first of all. So I want to give it some more space. So I'm going to put a window around all of these and just drag them over. And then I'll drag this line over. This line and this line should be the same as this. We can use the match properties. We'll just click on this guy, and then we'll click on this guy, and we'll click on that guy. Okay, so now we're ready for the actual midterm. Let's assume now we're actually working in the midterm. I've given you what wall type C is made up of. Now, your wall type C originally is just going to be something. It's not going to be correct. We'll go to the first floor, and you can see something. Let's say that this is what I tell you wall type C is going to look like. So we simply go to wall type C, edit the type, and edit the structure. And now what we're going to do is change the function and the material and the thickness to match whatever I have here for wall type C, assuming this is what I'm telling you wall type C is made up of. So the first material is finish. It's a brick common, so we'll click on our library to get our brick common. Hopefully your computer is quicker and faster than mine is. All right, so we'll just type in brick. Search the library for the materials. Brick common. All right. We're going to say okay. And that's our first one. Brick common. How thick is it? 3 5/8. So let's change the thickness to 3 space 5/8. Put the inch symbol in. We got our first one. Now we can change the second one by the second one would be concrete masonry. I think that's what it says, CMU. I will not have it let's see what we got for concrete. CMU, okay. I will not have this column hidden like that. All of the information will be there. The third one is air, so we'll change this one to air. We'll search for air. There it is. We'll say okay to that. And this concrete is 3 5/8. We didn't change that, so we'll change that to 5/8. And then the air is 3 inches. So we'll change that. And we have 10 rows, but we only have 5 here, so that's easy enough. We'll just insert, 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 and insert again. Now we have 10 rows, and let's change the next one to air infiltration. I think that's what it says. You will know, you won't have to guess at it because you'll see the entire infiltration barrier is what it's saying. Okay, and that's 0 inches, which it is. And let's make sure we set it to a membrane layer because only membrane layers can have 0 thickness. Then we have plywood sheathing, so we'll change this one to plywood sheathing. Search PLY for plywood. Let's see what comes up in the library for plywood. Plywood sheathing, we'll say okay. Metal stud is the next one. So we'll change this to metal stud. METAL, let's see what comes up. Maybe a lot of metals, and we might have to be more specific. Definitely have to be. So space STUD, metal stud layer. Okay. Vapor retarder is a membrane again, but we'll call it vapor retarder. So we're searching in the library for VAPOR. Let's see what comes up in the library. Vapor retarder, we'll say okay. That is another membrane layer, so we're going to function, so we'll change that to membrane layer because it has no thickness. And then the last one is gypsum. So we'll search for GYP. That generally brings up our gypsum choices. Gypsum wallboard. Okay. Now let's make sure we have everything. One is the brick common, two is the concrete masonry, three is the airspace, thermal air, 3 inches. Where'd that one go? Oh, down here. And it should be thermal air. No, air is good, but the thermal air, okay. Now we got to get these in order too, so let's work on that. One is the brick concrete, two is the concrete masonry. So let's, for now, just to make it easy, we're going to move that core boundary all the way down to number 6. This one will go down to number 6, so we'll move it down. So it's 6 and 8 is this core boundary, so we'll move it up. Okay, so we have the core boundaries in the right location, or the proper location. Finish brick 3 5/8. Finish brick 3 5/8. Finish concrete 3 5/8. Let's change that to finish. Thermal air, layer, air, and 3. So that's this one. So we'll move this one all the way up. Thermal air, air, and 3. Okay. Membrane layer, aerial filtration, yes, and that's 0. Okay. Substrate, plywood, 3/4. So we'll make this a substrate. Plywood, and it should be 3/4 of an inch. Now the next one is the core boundary, so we're going to have to move that one up again. And then we have our metal stud, which is structure metal stud 6 inches. The next one is our core boundary, so let's move that up one. And then we have our membrane layer, vapor retarder, 0 inches. Okay, and then the finish, gypsum wall, 1/2 inch. Finish, gypsum wall, we'll give it a 1/2 inch. And I think we're good. We can change this to finish 2.5 because that's what it is. Membrane layer, structure 1, substrate 2, membrane layer, thermal air layer, finish 1.4, and finish 1.4 again. So we'll change that one to finish. Oh, we don't have. Oh, there it is. Okay. I think we got it right. We'll say okay. Hopefully we don't get any error messages, and we don't. So we're going to say okay to that. And then it changed. Notice how it changed that to the materials that we're supposed to have in there. Okay, legend, wall type C. What I would like you to do is insert that image. Let's go back to the first floor. Wall type C, we'll click on it, edit the type, edit the structure. We'll do a screen capture. You can search for clip or snip. Microsoft, no, we want a snipping tool. Okay. Say new, and I would like you to do a screen capture of this, which we're saying is basic wall C. This is all I need to see, is this part of it. Type C, okay. Now we have to save that. So we're going to save that clip that we just made. And let's put it in someplace where you know it would be. We're going to call it type C and save it. So it should be there. We can minimize that for now, and we can say okay to that. We didn't make any changes. Now in our legend, and this is how I'll see if you got it right or not, we'll insert an image. What is that image? We said it was type C. We'll say okay. That's going to go right there. And we'll just make it small enough. We'll just grab this corner, make it small enough so that it fits in there. Looks like lesson learned here. We're probably going to have to move some things down. So we should do this ahead of time. We want to get these down lower so that there's enough room for your image next to wall type C. That's what I'm trying to do there. So you want to do this ahead of time. So let's make sure that we use the entirety. I'm using the arrow keys to get that down. We want to assume bless me. Let's measure it just to see what we should space. About 7 feet. We should be spacing these lines about 7 feet wide. So let's do that. We're going to go from here to here to here. Now back. Right now we're back in our setup for our midterm. We're not doing our midterm, but it looks like 7 feet will work. So I'm going to click on this guy and change the dimension to 7 feet. Then I'm going to click on this guy, change the dimension to 7 feet. You always click on the object that you want Revit to move. Then you click on the dimension. This one we're going to change to 7 feet. Okay, and this one will change to 7 feet. And looks like we got an extra one in there. So let's move these from here to here. We'll clean it up in a second. And there's an extra one in there, which we don't need. So that means that there's 2 there. And then we want to change this one to 7 feet. So this is, I'm back in our setup. We don't want to waste time in our setup when we're actually working in the midterm. We don't want to waste time doing that. All right, so this is wall type C. Let's move it up into wall type C. There we go. So that's telling me that you've done wall type C correctly. Okay, that's what wall type C is. I think what I'm going to do is pull this guy over to there because these have to come down. I'll just use the arrow keys on the keyboard to nudge them down. This one I have to raise up a little bit. Still using the arrow key just to nudge it up. That looks like that's not 7 feet anymore, so we'll double check. From here to here, to here, to here, to here, to here. Should be 7 feet all the way down, and it isn't. Got a 5 feet in there, so we'll change this. Click on that, say 7 feet, and looks like everything else is 7. So for your setup, you want to have about 7 feet of distance between their walls. That's not something you do during the midterm. Well, you can, but you're wasting time. And then you'll show me this is type C. These are the materials. These are the thicknesses. That's the function and the proper order. So I will know that your wall type C is down here. So we'll move it down one more. This is wall type C, wall type C. And that's how I would like you to do your midterm. I'm going to nudge it down just a little bit so that it fits in between. So what you want to do is have this legend made up ahead of time so that when you go in and change wall type C, you'll just do a screen capture of your assembly and then place it into the legend so that I know that you've made it properly with the right dimensions. And when we go to our sections, let's see, wall type C will be exactly what you just made. It will change automatically. So that's why we make our stacked walls ahead of time. We come into the midterm with a bunch of basic walls made, and then one by one we'll go in and change them. So look at wall type C now looks like this. We've changed it. Wall type C looks like this. We've changed it. And when we go to our legend, there's wall type C. So a lot of setup, and you can see is very important to have the setup done ahead of time. You could take an hour or more just setting it up during the midterm, which leaves you with only 2 hours and 20 minutes to actually execute the midterm, or you can have all of this set up ahead of time. And obviously, if you need help, you know that you can text me for help at any time. I have my office hours on Mondays from 9 to 11. And if you text me outside of the office hours, I can help you with that at our convenience, both of our convenience. Most of the time I can stop whatever I'm doing to help you out right away. So let's clean this up a little bit. This is now we're back doing stuff that we would do ahead of time, just getting our wall types laid out in the midterm project. And then one by one, you'll insert these different images in there and then make them a little bit smaller. So I want to make sure that you have everything set up for the midterm before you start actually taking the midterm. So grab me in class and say, hey, can you help me out here? Yes, I can. Text me outside of office hours and ask if I can help you out individually in a quick Zoom meeting. Yes, I can. Or come to the office hours Mondays from 9 to 11 and ask me to help you out, and I will. So I want to get you all set up so you're doing the setup ahead of time, and then you've got the easy part to do, which is just simply duplicating how I say each wall type looks. And I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, you've got plenty of opportunities to get assistance, look at these videos, talk to me, but please don't come to class without this already set up to take your midterm, because there's a lot of work in your setup and you have to have that set up ahead of time in order to have the most amount of time during class to do these simple things, which will be, change the levels to what they're supposed to be, change the wall types to what they're supposed to be, and then show me that you've done that, illustrate that, print it, and submit it in 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's a lot of work to do. The more you have set up ahead of time, the better it is for you. And we have gone through 5 videos and part of this 6th one showing how to get ready for the midterm.